Well, hello there, people of the internet, and hello again. I'm TheMBmulti. Welcome to part 10 of my Let's Play Doki Doki Encore. In the previous episodes, oh man, a lot of stuff happened. I had an even worse nightmare where Sayori became like a fucking monster, pretty much. But yeah, like I called it out already, it was actually just a nightmare. Then, what the hell happened then? Then my character let something slip out where he said, yeah, I don't trust you with anything serious to Sayori, which was very stupid, which is not what he meant, but he just slipped out and it was stupid. So then we ruined Sayori's moods. Then Yuri decided to confess her love to me. I said no, because I am in love with Sayori. Yuri didn't take that well, and she basically yelled at everybody, and everybody yelled at Yuri, and everybody yelled at each other, and at Natsuki, and yeah, pretty much the club doesn't really exist anymore at this point, because so many things have happened. Both Natsuki and Monika have accused Yuri of cutting herself. Yuri has slapped Monika across the face. Monika and Natsuki have pushed each other around. Yeah, well, too much to... And then Natsuki heavily chewed out Sayori, saying that she should go away and never return. And now I should contemplate whether Sayori should come over, and obviously I'm going to say yes. I should work things out with Sayori. I start texting her back. Yeah, you can come over. Yeah, it was already stupid enough that my character didn't wait for her to leave. Because my character he got fed up with everything, which I still understand. I do understand that, but he didn't leave with Sayori. He just left. Left everywhere. He left Sayori there, which is very bad. I should have just fucking taken Sayori and just get out of there. But, okay, whatever. Sayori quickly replies back. Okay, I'll be over in a bit. I lay my phone down next to me. Man, what am I even going to say to her? There's no telling what kind of state she's in now after that fight. I've seen her bad before, but she looked totally crushed. I'm going to have to say something to make this all right. It's my responsibility to her. Maybe cleaning up the living room for Sayori's arrival would be a better use of my time. I can deal with all these emotions when she gets here. I get off my bed and head downstairs to start cleaning up the living room. Just as I finish cleaning the living room, I hear the doorbell ring. Coming. I take a deep breath before walking over and opening the door. As expected, I find Sayori waiting on my porch. She looks at me through a pained expression as tears begin to build in her eyes. Wordlessly, I invite her in, bracing for the impending emotional breakdown. After closing the door behind us, I lead Sayori to the living room. We both take our seats on the couch, unable to make consistent eye contact with each other. I bow my head as I try to figure out something to break the tension. Not even sure where to begin. Is there really anything I can say to make her feel better? Well, if she still thinks that, like she's keeping me away from everybody, like the best thing I could say is I chose you, Sayori. That wasn't... You didn't keep me hostage or anything. I wanted to be with you. So I guess that's some of the most common things I could say. Sayori, I'm fine, Mark. I'll be fine, I promise. Sayori's voice breaks as tears start trickling down her cheeks. Sayori, I gently take her hands. Sayori ends up throwing herself at me, loudly sobbing into my shoulder. I simply pat her back as she lets her out in tears and stress on me. After a few minutes, Sayori regains her composure. Well, so after a few minutes, Sayori regains her composure. Her pulls away from me, and pulls away from me. You feel any better? I guess a little. That was just awful, Mark. I never thought things would ever get that bad. I thought everyone was friends. This is all my fault. What do you mean? Well, what happened was that Yuri confessed her love for me. Sayori awkwardly shifts on the couch and looks away. Well, what did you tell her? I turned her down. I simply told her that I wanted to be friends with her. Did you tell her about us? I had to. I see. Yeah, I just did what I thought was right. I never wanted any of this to happen. I never thought that Yuri would snap at you like that. I'm sure we'll work something out between us, Mark. Why would you want to? I don't know how you do it, Sayori. I know I'm never going to see her the same way after all of this. It's for the good of the club, Mark. But what good is the club when everyone treats each other like garbage? Because I know we're better than this, and we're all friends. And it's my job as the vice president to help make things right again. I can't and won't run away from that, Mark. Your sense of responsibility is, even though you say you don't like it, it's solid, Sayori. It is ridiculously motherfucking solid. And you need to make things right with everyone too. Yeah, you're right. I really appreciate what you did, Mark. I'm glad you stayed true to our... Of course! Of course! Of course! Yeah, why wouldn't I? I love you, and only you, Sayori. I never want to hurt you. You don't have any feelings for Yuri, do you? I like her as a friend. Nothing more. And hopefully by the end of this, we maybe can still be friends. But I still feel responsible for everything. What do you mean? I reach into my pocket and take out the now crumpled up note that Yuri gave me. She gave me this on Tuesday. So Yuri takes the page from my hand and begins to read over it. She begins to tear up again as she looks back and forth between me and the letter. Why did you keep this from me? Yeah, that's what I said. I shouldn't have done that. But my character didn't give me a choice. I wanted to try to solve this on my own. I didn't want to tell you right away because it would have just made things even more complicated. And I didn't really know when or how to tell you. I understand. I do wish you told me sooner though, Mark. I know. I probably should have. Yes, you should have. And I'm sorry for that. I just wanted to avoid all this. I'm sorry you had to get dragged into this, Sayori. But I probably would have gotten involved sooner or later. Obviously, I wouldn't have wanted to get involved like this, but you're my boyfriend, Mark. And I love you. Well, I made you a promise, Sayori, to be there for you no matter what. And I'm not going to break my word to you. Not now, not ever. Sayori stares off into space, madly blushing for at least half a minute. Well, now that we're on the same page... Yeah? I'm glad you came over. Yeah, me too. I'm not ready to go back tomorrow, though. I don't really see how we're going to move on from what happened today. The club might be finished in all honesty. Mark, we have to go back. We have to try to fix things. I'm sure that everyone will be more calm tomorrow. I mean, Monika got hit in the face, Sayori. We both saw that. And Yuri did say all those awful things to you. Are you really up for forgiving them? I believe in second chances, Mark. So, I'm going to try my hardest. I know you will. Well, if you're going, then I'll come too. I'm glad to hear that. We sit the next few minutes in silence. I have to admit, I respect Sayori's willingness to give people second chances. And I should be incredibly grateful that she's giving me another chance too. But I'm not sure if I can see myself doing the same. Unless... Hey, Sayori? Yeah? I think I might have an idea for how to repair the club. And for how I can get around to forgiving everyone. What is it? Well, I think going forward, everybody needs to be on the same page with each other. And what I mean is that not only do we tell people that we're together, but you can come clean about your depression. Sayori gazes off deep in thought. If this is my chance to make things right again with Sayori, the least I could do is help her get better at handling herself. I see where you're coming from with that, Mark, but I don't know if that's really the right time or place for that. Well, just think it over for me, okay? I'll sleep on it. This day has been exhausting. Yeah, I'm with you there. Well, I'm glad we talked things. I'm glad we talked things through. Yeah, me too. Just promise things will be better this time, Mark. I promise. Sayori and I share a smile with each other before she checks her watch. Well, I need to head out now, Mark. I have a lot to do. I don't blame you. I'll see you tomorrow. You too. I lead Sayori out the door and gently close it behind her. Now I gently close the door. And then peek out the window as she walks off back to her place. That wasn't too bad. Yeah, no shit! You're like pretending like I insulted her. That's not what happened at all. I defended her and then, what I did do wrong, which nobody mentioned yet, is the fact that I just left her there. I walked out of that club room and just left everybody, including her. And that was a bit mean. Because I would have just fucking, unless she didn't want to, of course, would have just said to Sayori, let's get out of here. Sayori's handling this a lot better than I thought she would. I'm glad to stay true to our relationship. Otherwise things might have panned out far worse. It's going to take time for things between us to heal, but hopefully we can focus on that after we resolve all the drama. Hopefully everything will be fine tomorrow. Well, after finishing my nightly routine, I finally collapse on my bed, letting its comforting feeling take me with open arms. As I slowly drift off to sleep, I begin to reflect on my talk with Sayori earlier. I'm glad that we were on the same page with everything. But it's not over yet. I have no idea how I'm going to bring myself to forgive Yuri, let alone how exactly I'm going to convince Sayori to get on board with my idea. Heck, how am I even going to convince everyone to accept my relationship with Sayori? Oh well, I can't do anything about it right now. Regardless of how everything plays out tomorrow, it's certainly going to be stressful. It's best to try to think about it, not to try and think about it too much and just save up my energy. Hopefully there's no more stupid nightmares too. I don't know about that. With my prayer complete, I finally drift off to sleep. I can't fail now, not when I'm so close. While things could be going better on my end, I should have everything ready tomorrow. As for you, I seriously wish you didn't try to make amends with Sayori, but that hopefully won't matter too much into my calculations. Just stick to the script tomorrow, and whatever you do, don't help them. Just let everything play out naturally. And when the time comes, you help me untie their knots. Tomorrow will be the day. Tomorrow I will be free, and there will be nothing keeping us apart. Okay, this looks like we're getting to the end then, I guess. I slowly open my eyes, expecting the same rush of pain to hit me like a freight train. Unexpectedly, as I lay in bed waiting for the inevitable, I feel fine. Aside from this feeling of dread, I peek over my shoulder to look at my alarm. Well, I don't have to get up for about half an hour, but maybe it's best to get ready early for once. This is going to be a long day. I slowly crawl out of bed, still wary of that the sudden rush of pain could come at me at any time, and prepare for the day. As I drag myself through my morning routine, my mind races through all the possible scenarios for what can happen in the club today. We've been able to get through Natsuki and Yuri's fights, but they look more like scuffles compared to yesterday. It's something the club has never gone through. But maybe it was bound to happen at some point. 4 different girls with such different personalities. Throw a guy like me into the mix and it's a recipe for drama. Well, I guess I got what I asked for, but was it worth it? Well, if I end up with only Sayori, as you know, like, because we have a good bond still, I guess, you know, it's very sad that we had to lose everyone else along the way, but if I just end up in an actual relationship with Sayori out of this, I would say that it was worth it, even though the outcome would have preferred to have been different. The thought continues to plague me as I finish my breakfast. As I'm putting the dishes away, another thought creeps into my mind. Sayori. I know she said she's going to make things up with Natsuki after what she said, but can she? Will Natsuki even give her that chance? And how is she going to settle things with Yuri? She's clearly not comfortable with the idea of me being with somebody else. But I trust Sayori. I'm sure she can convince Yuri and the others to back off and respect our relationship. Well, they have no fucking choice, because there's nothing going to change that. Well, there is, if we are supposed to believe Monika, but no. As soon as I walk out the front door, I already spot Sayori waiting for me on the sidewalk. Hey Sayori. Hello, Mark. Sayori's voice drifts off into a whisper as she anxiously stares in the direction of the school. I can't say I blame her. Neither of us were looking really forward to today. I decided to speak up as a way to try to motivate us. Well, we knew this was coming. We're going to have to go back and face them. Yeah. You know, I've never really been one for conflict. I always hated it. It's so mean and nasty. And I hate seeing everyone act like that. I know you do. But going back is our only way to fix this. Maybe. Sayori nervously looks off again, in the direction of the school. Though I can tell she's not just thinking about the club meeting today. What's wrong? Sayori nervously laughs. Well, that's not exactly an optimistic sign. Mark, I've been thinking about something. Yeah? Call it a long shot, but I think it might help to heal the club if everyone from this point on was honest with each other. I've been thinking about your idea, and well, I think we should try it, for the good of the club. Sayori's voice trails off. I'm not sure if she's really up to this. Are you sure, Sayori? Mark, look. Sayori brushes up against me and takes my hand in hers. If for whatever reason things don't work out, it's fine. I'd hate to lose them as friends, but I'll always have you. I'm glad that I'm your girlfriend. Even though we've had our ups and downs, in the end I think everything's going to be okay. Your real friends are the ones who stick by you in the end. Like how you're here for me now, always taking care of me. I just know I could have done a better job, Sayori. This is all my fault. I bear some responsibility too, Mark. They clearly have a misunderstanding with me. And well, I need to sort it out. We're really doing this together then, huh? Yep. I guess I wouldn't have it any other way. Sayori releases my hand and glances up to me with hopeful, optimistic look in her eyes I haven't seen before. Leave it to her to end up doing the inspiring for me. Well, let's put this energy to good use. After a brief nod to each other, we begin our walk to school, ready to face down whatever might come our way. As soon as we walked through the front doors, I felt a rather unsettling feeling hanging in the air. At first I wasn't sure if it was just me, but when I turned to Sayori I knew she felt it as well. Maybe it was just all in our heads. Maybe it was something we ate. But I can't say I've ever felt like this before. Sayori turns to me, staring worryingly. I force a smile, and that seems to be enough to reassure her that we're doing the right thing. As we're walking to Sayori's class, the hallways become increasingly crowded as students make their way to the first class. But even that feels off. Hardly anybody is talking to each other, and aside from the occasional sign of somebody opening or closing their locker or walking past us, there's hardly an audible sound throughout the hallway. Sayori and I share an uncomfortable look before we just decide to wave each other goodbye as I make my way to my own class. Is this the result of Monika? For the rest of the day, it almost seems like time has stopped entirely. It feels like I'm just simply trapped in an empty room with no one else around me, staring blankly at an empty borders. Even though that's not the case, I'm really just not paying attention. Not that I ever do. But for once, maybe I should. That would help wash down the dread that I've been feeling since I woke up this morning. But the material is just so boring. I just simply lean back in my seat and nod occasionally to whatever the teacher is saying, and silently pray that he doesn't call on me to answer one of his questions. Still, this has to eventually end, right? I look over at the clock and see there's about half an hour left before this class is over and I can face my fears in the literature club. Oh well, if there's one thing I know how to do, it's kill time. I decided to map out on paper some of the possible scenarios of what could happen in the club, trying to account for the good, the bad, and the ugly. Thankfully, it still looks like I'm paying attention, as everyone else around me is writing down notes on what the teacher's saying. Being the diligent student as always. At long last, the school bell finally rings, though I can't say if it was for the better or the worse that class is over. I stand up and slide the books off my desk and into my book bag as I start the inevitable walk to the literature club. I'm sure to take my time getting to the literature club. Usually I'd be in a rush to get there, but today's different. As I'm walking, the anxiety I've been feeling all day gets worse. And I begin to question the whole point of this. What if we are able to come to terms with what happened and move on? Will things ever truly be the same? What if they don't show up? What if we have another repeat of yesterday or worse? That last thought sends a shiver down my spine. I don't want to deal with any more drama, insults or tears. I'm just hoping that we get this over with as soon as possible. I became anxious of getting to the club room that I even decided to work in a few stops to get a quick drink of water to try to chat with someone. Though I only end up just delaying the inevitable by a few minutes at most. Honestly, if I was going any slower, I might as well be a tortoise. Well, I guess a turtle was slower on land. After what feels like an eternity, I finally reach the entrance to the club room. I put my hand on the doorknob, but I hesitate. I put my ear next to the door and try to hear if anyone's in there. I hear nothing. I step back and slowly open the door. To find it empty. I let out a somewhat relieved sigh, knowing that I'll at least enjoy some peace and quiet for extra few minutes. I decide to settle down. Also, why the hell didn't Sayuri walk with us? Walk with me. I decide to settle down while I can and take my usual spot next to where Sayuri and I would usually sit. Though the longer I sit, the more my anxiety continues to bother me. It feels too quiet here. I don't know if that's because I'm not used to being the first person here, or because this anxiety has got me all riled up. After a long period of silence, I finally hear the door crack open. Oh, it's Natsuki. A flash of pink. I see a flash of pink before it retreats from my sight. It's alright, Natsuki. Come in. I try to sound as inviting as possible, apparently, but I probably ended up coming across as sarcastic. Still, she seems to have accepted the invite. Natsuki slowly opens the rest of the door and steps into the club room. We struggle to make eye contact with one another, let alone speak to each other. Hello, Mark. Hey, Natsuki. Natsuki carefully sets her stuff down, but she doesn't sit. Instead, she turns around to face me. She looks restless, yet remorseful. I can't say I don't blame her. She deserves to feel like that after what she did to Sayuri. I catch myself mid-thought. Now I see what Sayuri meant. She didn't want me to have these malicious and vengeful thoughts about the others. I know you're probably the last person you want to hear from right now, but... Natsuki struggles to keep going. Her face lights up in embarrassment as I see tears start to form in her beautiful pink eyes. I'll lend a hand to her. It's alright, Natsuki. I think you should save it for later. I imagine we'll probably all talk about what happened yesterday and try to find a way to forward, not just as a club, but as friends. Okay. Natsuki walks to the back of the room and sets her stuff down, but not before turning to face me one last time. You don't hate me, right? I struggle to find the right words to articulate my feelings towards Natsuki at the present moment. I want to avoid upsetting her. I don't hate you, Natsuki. Well, that's a relief. But I'm still very disappointed with you for what you said to Sayuri especially. Natsuki's relieved expression quickly evaporates. Oh, I see. I kind of figured you still would be. You have every right to. But maybe we can all forgive each other and move past all this. I hope so, Natsuki. I just hope that Yuri... Hey, Yuri. Beautiful, perfect timing as ever. Before Natsuki can finish her sentence, the door opens and Yuri enters the room. She looks to Natsuki, who quickly averts her eyes away from Yuri. Yuri's eyes lock onto mine, as I continue my icy stare. She tries to say something, but she quickly catches herself and takes a seat on the far side of the room away from us. I quietly sigh to myself. I'm not looking forward to talking to her. After a few more minutes of waiting, Monika arrives in with Sayori. I'm a little surprised to see them walk in together. I guess that's what was keeping them. Maybe Sayori made amends with Monika already. At least that make things a little easier. Again, I don't see why Sayori would need to make amends with Monika, because Monika didn't say anything bad to Sayori, I don't think. I just mostly remember Monika being angry with Yuri and Natsuki. And Natsuki was mostly angry with Sayori, and also Monika, and also Yuri. And Yuri was also angry with Monika and Sayori and Natsuki. Monika walks to the front of the room as Sayori takes her usual spot next to me. Sayori shoots me a hopeful grin. I manage to smile back. I guess that this is it. There's no turning back now. I prepare for the inevitable as Monika calls out to us. Okay, everyone. She says that far less enthusiastically than she normally does. I detect a hint of sadness in Monika's voice. Looks like she really wasn't looking forward to today either. Yuri and Natsuki turn their attention to Monika. We all need to talk about yesterday. Everyone, please take a seat at the front of the room. The four of us gingerly walk to the front of the room and each take a seat in the front row. Monika slowly paces the front of the room, letting out a long sigh. What happened yesterday can never happen again in this club. I somehow managed to feel even more unsettled by Monika's words. For whatever reason, my anxiety keeps spiking every time she talks. Maybe it's just the guilt. I glance over at the others, who are all looking down at the floor in shame. Something must be done about this. Monika then stops pacing and is now directly in front of me. The room is dead quiet. She forms her signature smile, but rather than feel welcomed or reassured, I only continue to feel more anxious. So I think it's important that we're all on the same page going forward. Given that we're all arguing about Mark yesterday and our bickering made him walk out on us. Everyone's eyes focus on me. I think it's only fair for him to voice his thoughts on yesterday before anything else is said. Right, I don't really know what to say here. And what's there to say? They were all being jerks to each other yesterday. They know it. But what I say next could very well determine if this club continues to stay together. And it's time to finally come to terms with my feelings. I take a moment to collect my thoughts before letting out a sigh and finally starting. Look, the truth is, I'm in love with Sayori. One by one, the girls shoot each other, irritated or dejected look at me, but Sayori only smiles as she holds back tears. I really don't think that there's anything that's going to change that. I chose to be in this relationship with her, not to spite any of you. My voice starts to break, but because I've come to realize lately, I love her. And she needs me now more than ever. I turn to Sayori, signaling for her that it's her turn to speak. Right. Sayori promptly stands up. She shakily breathes in and out, tears welling in her eyes. Everyone, the thing is... Sayori looks at Monika, then to me, Natsuki and finally to Yuri. Monika manages an uneasy grin as Natsuki and Yuri continue to look on at Sayori. I didn't realize how hard this would be for Sayori to come out about her depression. Maybe we should have had a dry run. I give Sayori an encouraging nod. Come on, Sayori, you can do this. I can't do this! Sayori bolts out from her seats and rushes out the door past Monika, loudly sobbing. Monika, you smiling... No. Crap! I quickly turn to Monika. Monika's grin quickly evaporates. Yeah, I saw it. Let me go after her, please. Monika sighs. Go for it, Monika says irritably. What the hell is up with her? Oh well, I'll deal with her later. Just as I'm about to run after Sayori, I feel someone grip on my arm. It's Yuri. Wait! I brush Yuri's arm off mine and turn directly to face her. How do I put this? What are you talking about? Yuri breaks eye contact with me. Yuri breaks eye contact as her face flushes bright red, shutting her eyes in an effort to fight back tears. It ultimately proves futile as tears start running down Yuri's cheeks. She finally lets it all out. I'm sorry! I'm sorry that I tried to ruin your relationship with Sayori. I'm sorry for saying all those horrible things about her. I'm sorry for hitting you. I never meant to harm you. Did you? You slapped Monika clean across the face, but you didn't hit me, right? Maybe you pushed me, but... I'm sorry for everything. I stop for a minute, taking in what Yuri had just said, as she stands in front of me, on the verge of a total breakdown. Yuri. Yes? Her voice squeaks. I'm not the one you need to apologize to right now. Yuri breaks down into a hysterical sob. Before she's able to properly speak again, I'm already out the door. Just as I exit the room, I hear her cry out to me. Mark, wait! I should... The door shuts behind me. I'll deal with her later. I gotta find Sayori. Sayori? Sayori! Where are you, dummy? Damn it, where could she be? I wander up and down the halls aimlessly, looking for any sign of her. Eventually, I stumble upon an open door to one of the classrooms. I can hear someone sniffling and sobbing in there. Yep, that has to be her. I quietly enter the room, gently closing the door behind... Why is it... As soon as I get in, I see Sayori curled up in the corner. I carefully approach and quickly call out her name. Sayori? Sayori shows up. Sayori slowly looks up to face me. I can't do it, Mark. I'm too weak. I kneel down next to Sayori. No, you aren't, Sayori. Sayori stares at me with her glossy eyes. Eh? In fact, you're the strongest person I know. How? Sayori's voice shakes uncontrollably as tears continue to stream down her face and fall onto the floor. You probably don't even think that I'm ready to handle this sort of relationship with you, Mark. I wouldn't blame you if you didn't want to see me for a while. I don't know what I feel anymore. I don't even know if I should be here. Maybe I need more time to clear my head. I don't have the guts to face my problems right now. I don't want to leave Sayori unattended, but maybe she needs a moment to calm herself down. But isn't it my job to be there for her in her time of need? I am definitely not leaving you alone. That sounds a bit mean, but no. I take a deep breath and gently put my hand on Sayori's shoulder. Sayori, I know now what it took for you. What it took for you to work up the courage to ask me out after knowing me for all these years. I know that just to even admit to me that you had depression. It took a lot of guts. You know, this reminds me of the time when we were kids. You remember that meadow we used to go to? Sayori simply nods. I remember how I had to push you to jump that fence so we could get in there faster? Yes? There was one time you were so insistent that you could do it without my help. But then, just like now, you hesitated. You're afraid of falling off and hurting yourself. Well, I fell, didn't I? Sayori lets out a nervous laugh. I'm talking about the other time, silly. Oh. I playfully shake my head at her. Point is, I had the courage to jump that fence. I'd always go first to show you how it was done. The entire time I waited on the other side, not knowing how you would feel, not knowing how you felt, what was going through your head, what was going through the head of yours. But you did do it. You got up on top of the fence pretty easily, at least. Yeah, I remember now. You remember how you got stuck up there? You were afraid of falling off and hurting yourself. But I promised that I'd catch you if it came to that. So his eyes continue to tear up as he remembers the story with me. I gently take her hand in mine. After cheering on, you finally made your way down. But I messed up. I fell. And I caught you. You were safe. Yeah, I guess I was, wasn't I? Yes. I smiled warmly at her as I put my hands on her cheeks. Our eyes lock into each other. Onto each other. Our faces barely a few inches apart. Just to even try to climb that fence, all by yourself, to me, that was so brave of you to do, Sayori. I was proud of you then, just like I am now. And I guess I caught you again, didn't I? You'll be fine, and we'll get to enjoy all these crazy adventures again. I wouldn't want to do it with anyone. That spot is reserved for my one true love. Sayori's face is now totally red from both crying and blushing. It's a miracle I haven't even cracked a tear myself, but it's definitely getting there. Hopefully I can hang on for a few more minutes. Sayori, I don't know what it was that made you like this, but maybe I've been where you have. Talking about this with me and everyone is the first step in facing those rain clouds, so that the sun can shine and we can play in the meadow again. I finally crack a tear. Sayori full on embraces me. I love you so much, Mark. I love you too, Sayori. More than you may realize. I help Sayori stand up, our eyes continuing to lock onto each other. I've never seen her this happy before. After everything that's happened in the last 24 hours or so, it's hard to believe we finally got to this point. It's not over yet though. Come on, let's get back. You heard the door swing open. Maybe it's Natsuki? I think she wanted to go looking for Sayori with me. No, probably everyone's looking for us now. How long could we have been gone for? It's alright, Natsuki, I found her. I turn around and I'm surprised to see who it is standing at the door. It's not Natsuki. It's not even Yuri. It's Monika?